Well, King Charles is in town. How exciting. We're excited, Rita, to have King Charles in town. Welcome to King Charles. Welcome to Camilla. Hope you're both well and watching Outsiders, which, of course, you are, Your Honour, Your Highness.
Oh, well, yes, I'm beside myself with excitement. Look, I'm not going to feign excitement. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a monarchist. I think it's a system that serves us well, so I'd rather we stay with it. The Republicans cannot come up with a model that is better than what we currently have. But that doesn't mean I'm out there waving British Union Jack flags or celebrating King Charles's presence in the country. But I do think that it is a poor look that we've got so many state premiers who are just not even making themselves available for a meeting with the King. This might be his only visit to Australia.
This is bizarre, James. Is this politics?
It's total politics. It's an incredibly poor taste. Remember, all of these state premiers, they are all officers, they're all ministers of the Crown, right? All of our ministers are ministers of the Crown. And for them to sort of artfully snub the sovereign in this way, I think is incredibly poor taste. I think it's playing to a left-wing base that, has a problem not just with the monarchy, but with tradition, but with the institutions of our democracy, and with, frankly, modern post-settlement Australia itself. I really think that you need to look at this as part of a much bigger program of the left attacking institutions. Now, Rita, I know you said just now that you're not a committed monarchist, you're not a committed Republican, you think that the system works. And yes, that is absolutely correct. But also, I do think that one of the great cases for being a monarchist in Australia is that institutional stability which we have, which does work. And, we've talked about for years. If you've been watching this program at home for years, you know that what we talk about here is the salami strategy, by which the left slices off. We should have, a leader here in Australia. Oh, we should do this. Dink, 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 dink. Yeah. And then before you know it, the whole joint's gone.
Well, more important, sorry, Rita, I'll just say that what you said before is 100% correct. So Winston Churchill famously said that democracy isn't great, but it's way better than all the alternatives. And exactly the same can be said for the constitutional monarchy. It ain't perfect, but it's way, way better than all the alternatives, as the Republicans have repeatedly failed to come up with anything that is even vaguely acceptable. And the key point, James, is that having a monarch, and particularly having a monarch who is overseas on the other side of the planet, means that he denies that power, he or she, the Queen before him, denies that power at the top of our structure to anybody else.
Well,
so you don't get Malcolm Turnbull sitting as the president. You don't get Kevin Rudd or anybody else sitting as the president. You get someone who is completely independent. But that is why the key to the success of the constitutional monarchy is that the monarch himself or herself must, at all costs and at all personal costs, remain above politics. And the biggest danger is that King Charles and his son, Prince William, keep flirting with woke ideology, unaware or maybe aware that it is socialist left-wing policy that they are flirting with, and that is the real danger that the monarchy has to come to grips with. They must stop being woke, James.
Well, the monarchy must be non-partisan completely. I mean, that's the whole point.
It must be, and that's the problem.
But I would argue that King Charles hasn't just flirted, but as Prince Charles, he was deeply political on multiple issues, from climate change to Middle East relations to all sorts of issues, and always sometimes on the fringes of the left. You look at some of the things he has said and written. So that I worry about. Prince William, sadly, is also following in those footsteps. He has been less political as king, thank God, but there's still this talk about investigating reparations and he's still there. He's still in that circle where he's getting advice from the very worst people he should be getting advice from.
The problem is, James, it was Prince Charles who was out there selling the Great Reset. Remember that nonsense from the World Economic Forum a few years ago about how we're going to rebuild all our lives and all this? So he's been an advocate for openly political cause.
But
now, yes, Rita is correct that as king he's done less of that, but he's still been there. He's still been doing the doomsday clock for climate change, all that stuff. He's very poorly advised by his advisors in the palace if he does this, because
because you know what? The only way that the monarchy maintains its support is by being over and above politics and not getting down into the nitty-gritty of this or that woke cause of the week. But I just want to bring it back to Australia here. You know, the key is the people who are pushing a republic here, they do not want there to be no sort of sovereign power. They just want it to be their own kind of local aristocracy of the sort of the Peter Fitzsimons types, the Malcolm Turnbull types. And, you know, we saw them coalesce and come together during The Voice. The Australian people rejected that vision, that sort of C-suite wokeness, you know, but they see themselves as kind of a new aristocracy, and they feel like they are terribly denied that because they're Australian and not British. And, you know, one of the things that I always find fascinating is for all of the, you know, supposed egalitarian talk of this class, how much they obsess over gongs and all sorts of things like that. You know, how often do they lose their mind when the wrong sort of person gets an AO? They think it's all for them. And
that's right.
That's what they want to. That's what they want here. They want to ditch the monarchy so that they can create their own woke aristocracy.